From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big morning of noontime LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check of 2021. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we go over the breaking news happening just minutes ago. The Federal Reserve releases its April minutes notes, and boy, incredible great news for your fourth stimulus. Then also big news about your fourth stimulus. Why has suddenly the person who wrote the multiple stimulus bill written a letter to Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi? And what does it say? I'll have the jaw-dropping great news about this letter behind the person who wrote the multiple stimulus bill. Incredible great news. We'll go over the monthly stimulus check, how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and why suddenly you're going to get it maybe potentially earlier than we thought before. And at least the vote is looming faster than we ever anticipated. Great news happening just here on noontime. Then we go to fifth stimulus, that raising of your benefits lifetime, and why that raise could be even larger than you ever thought. And then finally, thousands of dollars land in your bank account starting today. How do you get it, and when does it land, and where do you find it? I have all the great, incredible news on a big day, on a big noontime, and it starts right now. Good noontime, LA, everybody. This is LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check that starts in the month of July and continues month after that. In this fourth stimulus check updated 2021 today, we see for the first time a major new letter written by the author behind the monthly stimulus checks and what that author is telling Nancy and Chuck to do. We also get insight as to the two-step, two-bill, two-month process that has already started and when the vote will finally happen, and it may come earlier than we ever thought ASAP. Incredible great news. And then we get to fifth stimulus and why the Federal Reserve's minutes ago, released to the public just seconds before this broadcast, gives you incredible insight about what's happening with those benefits this fall. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rail benefits, and veterans benefits, what a big recording. And in the middle of the recording, we go over the big money landing in your county, city, and state, thousands of dollars. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel on fire. 400,000 subscribers in 1 year, a YouTube record. We're heading to 1 million. Join me. So subscribe right now. Also like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member to get access to all these documents, including that new letter, which I'm going to go over in just a second. But let's get to the fourth stimulus check updated 2021. It starts with the House proposal, and what I want you to look at in this graphic is the authors' names. Over the last few weeks, you've been looking at this graphic where I show you the House proposal, and I say Talil and Jalapal. Look at that name, Jalapal, and remember it because you're going to hear it in about 4 minutes from now in this recording. The House proposal provides a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year, and the Senate proposal provides a stimulus check over a shorter duration. So let's compare and contrast. You're in the live chat, get ready to vote, but not just yet. The House proposal is the remainder of the pandemic, a monthly stimulus check, and then a monthly stimulus check every month thereafter for 1 year. So let's say the pandemic had 4 more months, that would be 4 months of stimulus checks, and then 1 year after that, 12 months thereafter. The Senate proposal was a stimulus check from July to December. The House proposal was $1,000 after the first month, which is 2, and then the Senate proposal is a monthly amount unknown, but word on the street is the monthly amount is this for the Senate. Wow, wow, wow. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months per person, $8,400. We're learning now that potentially the House proposal may not go pandemic plus 1 year. Why? Because the pandemic may be over by the time of the vote. The vote is in July. And ultimately, we're now seeing why that pandemic plus 1 year may be reduced to just 1 year. The CDC on Thursday announced that the mask mandate for vaccinated people has been lifted. New York lifted it today. California lifts it on June 15th. New Jersey's still waiting. The White House lifted it on Friday. And then corporate America has been lifting across the country where states don't require it. CVS, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ultra Beauty, all lifting the mask mandate in stores, which suggests that the pandemic may be over by the month of July for legislative purposes, not for medical purposes. And that means that you would get a monthly stimulus check for 1 year under the House proposal. So let's compare and contrast and get ready to vote if you're in the live chat just after 11:30 on the West Coast. House proposal, 1 year, about $13,000. Senate proposal, 6 months, approximately $12,000. Yes, the Senate proposal is nearly the same amount of money in half the amount of time. So which one do you like? I think you're going to like the Senate proposal. Vote House or Senate. Now let's go over the items about the fourth stimulus package and check that you need to know. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check starting the month of July. Remember, I'm a news reporter. I'm not a legislator. So it's not my representations, their representations. Today, yet again, Nancy Pelosi confirmed that the vote would be in the month of July. And by July 4th, that means that the stimulus check would start in the month of July and land in the month of July. Then August, in the month of August. There would be no waves of stimulus checks where different people get in different weeks of the months. They can't do that because of a monthly stimulus check. And who would get it? You would get it. So if you're a single individual who makes less than $75,000, you get the fourth stimulus check. Married couple who make $150,000 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check. Double it. Household 4 or less, you would get four times the stimulus check. And if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you would get the fourth stimulus check. The amount would be the same for adult dependents, minor dependents, and everyone across the board. It's not income. It's not taxable. And there you go. It goes by a two-step, two-bill, 2-month process. And I'll have more about the breaking details in just a second. But here's what you also need to know. That there's a major new letter that has circulated to urge the vote immediately. Wow, wow, wow. In the second half of this recording, I'm going to go over that incredible letter, and guess who wrote it? Yes, Jalapal, the same person who wrote the multiple stimulus check bill. This is absolutely incredible great news. Coming up in the second half of this recording, I'm going to go over, actually in the middle of this recording, I'm going to go over what that Jalapal letter says, what legislators are saying, and why the vote may be ASAP. Incredible great news at noontime. But let's get a preview of what's coming up in the second half of this recording. In the second half of this recording, I go over the Federal Reserve's minutes that were released minutes ago. That's the minutes from their last meeting. That details their thoughts on the inflation rate. This is huge for fifth stimulus. What is fifth stimulus? It's in the fall, and it raises your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and survivor benefits, and then add a new benchmark. The benchmark's inflation. So what did the Federal Reserve say minutes ago? I have that breaking news coming up in the second half of this recording. But let's go to the exciting great news about thousands, tens of thousands of dollars available for you starting right now. I have a lot of money across this entire recording. It's 30 minutes in length, so get a pen and paper ready and get it out because I want you to get all this big money, and you've been doing a great job. Viewers constantly saying, I got rent, I got utilities, I got these things. Thank you, LALATE. So I want you to be the next person to get it as well. Let's start with what's going on. The third stimulus, when it passed earlier this year, I told you you're going to get a $14 stimulus check. But I told you the biggest money is $5,000 to $25,000 of rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities, and SNAP. And that you need to get it because this is how we do it on this channel. We don't track checks. We cash checks. And now that money is landing in your city, county, and states this week and next week. $350 billion of it. So where is it? What do you do? Let's go over the details. $5,000 approximately for rent is available for individuals for 4 to 6 months of rent at your city, county, and state. And where do you get it? City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. Reach out to all 6 locations and ask for rent assistance because of COVID. You can also say Biden Economic Recovery Act. You do not use the word stimulus. That is $5,000 approximately for rent and a couple $1,000s for utilities or a few $100s for utilities. Then mortgage assistance also there as well, and then also money for homeowners utilities. This is third stimulus. This is not second stimulus, which was in the same location last fall. This is now third stimulus. So go get it. Incredible great news is also happening with SNAP. What is SNAP? It is money for food. You can get SNAP from your Department of Agriculture. I'll call 211 and ask for Department of Agriculture. How much money is SNAP? It's a fortune. It's about $14,000 to $16,000 for a family of four in Hawaii because of two major executive orders. A Biden executive order, which raised it 15% for 6 months, and a Trump executive order, which did it for another 6 months. Incredible, great news. So $16,000 or $14,000 for SNAP from a family of four in Hawaii, and $5,000 approximately for rent across the country. We're doing really good, and we're only 10 minutes into this recording. Well, that brings me to a reality check moment, and it's right now. The reality check moment is that the incredible money for rent, utilities, food, and mortgage assistance is first come, first serve. And that's what bred the expression I create on this channel, Purple Hawk. Hawk, hawk, you want to pounce to get that money before anyone else because there will be a stimulus stampede. But another reality check moment right now is that it's not coming back. It won't be back under forced stimulus. It's the last hurrah. Why? Under forced stimulus, Democrats do not want to extend the eviction moratorium or mortgage forbearance again. They want you to get rent under third stimulus so that they can lift the eviction moratorium, get rid of it, and get rid of the mortgage forbearance. So get that money right now. And guess what? I got 2 items of automatic money landing in your hands starting today. The first one is money coming back from your states, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. This is repayment of money to you when they overpaid you for unemployment benefits automatically. Let's go over the details. The federal government has stepped in and said some states had overpaid its citizens thousands of dollars for unemployment benefits due to computer malfeasance, and then reached out to the citizens, asked them to return the money back to them. The federal government has now ordered those states to return the money back to you. So if your state had overpaid you due to computer malfeasance, no fault of your own, and you asked you to return the money back to them and you did, congratulations, you're getting that money back from your state. The same way it was paid before, it's coming in different rounding times. Reach out to your state to learn the time and date in which you're getting it. And one viewer is already getting $5,000. Incredible, great news. Now let's turn to that second set of money. It's a fortune. And where's it coming from? IRS and Treasury. I'm going to go over first how much money it is. Then I'm going to go over how you're going to get it. And then I'm going to go over when you're going to get it. First, how much money? It is the taxes you paid on your unemployment assistance to Department of Treasury, or IRS. So here's an example. If you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance in 2020. You paid a total tax bill to IRS of $5,000, of which $4,000 was taxes on your unemployment. You're getting $4,000 back from IRS. Viewers have already started to get this money back. Incredible, great news. So how do you get the money? In the mailbox. If your tax return did not list a direct deposit account, it's coming in the mailbox. Beige or white envelope with a beige check in there from IRS to you. Subject line, refund. Incredible, great news. Now, if on that 2020 return you did list a direct deposit account, it's going to that. Let's go now to when are you going to get this money? Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 have been now identified by IRS just in the last day. So Phase 1 are people who are single filers who have no dependents and no other refunds on the tax return. You're getting paid since last week and the rest of this week. Phase 2 starts the end of this week, goes into next week. Phase 2 are single filers who have more complex returns, like dependents. And Phase 3 is the end of May. Yes, everyone's getting paid in May. Phase 3 is joint filers. Incredible, great news. With that, it's time to turn to the jaw-dropping news that is absolutely incredible for forced stimulus. It's this letter. And boy, I mean, this is about exciting as it gets. The forced stimulus is a two-bill, two-step, two-month process called reconciliation, in which it's already begun. It's already in subcommittees, working on the languages of the bill and working in the provisions of the forced stimulus package. Well, what's going on? A letter was written in the last 24 hours to Nancy and Chuck from Jalopal, the same person who wrote the bill for the House for the monthly stimulus checks. When Jalopal wrote the bill for the monthly stimulus checks, she had over 100 House Democrats saying, we're not signing the reconciliation bill unless there's monthly stimulus checks in there. Guess what? Those same House Democrats are back saying, we're ready to vote finally on the fourth stimulus package. Their letter to Nancy and Chuck, while not talking about the provisions of the fourth stimulus package, only talks about one subject. We're ready to vote. Stop waiting and start the voting. Incredible, great news. They're calling for the vote ASAP to start the reconciliation process to be finished. This comes after a series of interviews released today by top Democrats, including the one who held the president's own inauguration ceremony on the Capitol steps, saying it's time to call the vote. Incredible. Let's go over some of their comments today. Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat out of New York, said absolutely not going to wait another minute from a Republican because we might lose our coalition for human infrastructure. I do not think the White House should relegate recovery to the judgment of Mitch McConnell because he will not function in good faith. I think it's a terrible misstep. So when asked when she thinks the vote should start, she says right away. Then Ruben Gallego, Democrat out of Arizona, says the Republicans are not even being players. They should just move on. We should just move on without them. He said it's time to call for the vote. Then Mark Pocan, a Democrat out of Wisconsin, said it's ridiculous to wait for the Republicans. At what point do they seriously come to the table? If they don't come to the table, it doesn't mean we don't serve the meal. I love that expression. And then comes Majority Whip Dick Durbin, who says a very clear comment, which is, we need to be prepared to vote on the reconciliation. We can still talk with them, but we can't be waiting any longer. And finally comes Ro Khanna. It's time to move forward with our bill, is his exact words. So what's going to go happening? We have reconfirmation today that the vote will be by July 4th for Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer. So what's going to go on? This is what's going to go on, says these top Democrats in the letter today. That the reconciliation process has already started, that the Democrats have now told the president and told Schumer and Pelosi, call the vote ASAP. Call the vote ASAP. On the other side is something I call optics, a different presentation of the situation, but it doesn't mean the vote's not happening. The president, for optics purposes only, will continue to hear from the Republicans, meaning have lunches. How are you? No, I'm not going to do that. How are you? Nice to meet you. No, I'm not going to do that. He's going to do that reportedly up till Memorial Day. And after Memorial Day, he will no longer meet with the Republicans anymore on the subject matter. Why? Because over the last 3 months, the Republicans have offered the exact same dollar figure, which the president has rejected time after time after time. $500 billion, which has been rejected, I think, almost 4 times by the president. So great news, as the Democrats have now told Pelosi and Schumer, it's time to call the vote. We're finishing the bill. Call it for a vote. And while the president may want to have chats in the White House and have some coffee and tea through Memorial Day, we need to call the vote ASAP. Incredible, great news. And that's your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. But guess what? I got more coming up in the second half of this recording. And the big shocker that came out of the Federal Reserve just minutes ago, you're hearing for the first time on Noontime LA. Meantime, if you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or homeowners assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. The community page is in the description to this video. In the description, you'll see an emoji of a house and a link to the webpage, news.lalate.com/community. On the webpage, you'll see a picture of some cats, and below there are links to the volunteers, viewers like you, who are step forward to help you get those monies. So reach out to them if you cannot find it as well. And stay with me. I'll be back in 60 seconds with great, exciting news about fifth stimulus happening just minutes ago. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now,
then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues right now on Noontime LA. How are you? It's a beautiful day here in Los Angeles, relatively breezy. How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you are. Tell me where you're tuning in. If you're in the live chat or watching the tape, tell me where you are and how's the weather. It's beautiful today in Los Angeles. Sunny, as you can tell, coming on in. Thank you for the nice comments on the flowers. They're orchids, by the way. And I hope it's beautiful weather where you are. This is Noontime LA. I'm so excited you're here. I have big updates about your fourth stimulus check still coming up in this recording. But the fifth stimulus package got a major twist minutes ago from the Federal Reserve. This is LA. Make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers. We are on fire. A YouTube record now heading to 1 million. Get us to 1 million. Also, like this video. I think we're at 900 likes so far. So get us over 1,000 likes. Let's do it. Also consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. You want to become a member so you get access to documents like that letter from Jalapal and the 100+ Democrats to Nancy and Chuck. What a big day it is. So let's get to fifth stimulus and then what's going on with the breaking news that impacts fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus is this fall, a two-bill, two-step, two-month process like fourth stimulus. The only difference is the add-on is not a stimulus check, but SSI and SSDI reform. Let's go over broadly what's happening right now, and then I'll go over specifics. So they're going to increase your benefits, remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, then remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Okay, let me go over the calculations at issue and what's happening minutes ago. First, they're going to raise your benefits up. Who's you? It's you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, or SSA. They're going to raise your benefits up one time to a big new number. Then they're going to attach a benchmark. What's a benchmark? Benchmark is a number that they use every December to look at to determine whether to step you up or to keep you the same, never step you down. And that step up would determine if your benefits would be more the next year. The step up they're going to use is inflation. That's what's new under fifth stimulus. Now, the inflationary rate choosing it and figuring out what it's going to be in December has been a task of itself. We saw how the Federal Reserve has been talking about 2% inflation. Wall Street talking about 3 or 4. And then, since Friday, talks of potentially a lot more. On Friday, Jeremy Siegel, a top professor at the Wharton School of Business, said the inflationary rate in December will be upwards of 20%. Yesterday, we saw one of the Fed chairmen, this one out of Atlanta, saying that the growth rate will go from 4% now to 10% in December. That shows a substantially higher inflationary rate than 2%. Well, guess what happened minutes ago? The Federal Reserve's minutes were released to the public. This is the first time we've seen anything from the Federal Reserve about inflation in a few weeks. Now, before I explain what the minutes are, let me explain. These are minutes from their April meeting before the Consumer Price Index and the PPI number was released a few days ago, last week. That number showed we're heading to big inflation. Well, what did the Federal Reserve say before those numbers were released? That they think that the inflation rate may go higher and that they may have to ease support of the economy because there is inflation coming. But the Fed hopes to get 2.5%. Well, all indications now suggest that potentially you could see 4 or higher percent of inflation this fall. But let's use an example that it's 5% inflation. It's absolutely incredible great news. Why? Because this is how it works. They first raise your benefits up under the fifth stimulus. Lifetime benefits, a new big number. You got that. Then in December, they're going to figure out, look at see what the inflation rate is in December. Maybe Jeremy Siegel's wrong. Maybe it's not 20%, but maybe it's also not 2%. If the indications are right at the moment, it may be 5 to 10%. That means your benefits would step up. They would never step down. Remember, benefits don't step down. They either stay the same or stay up. They step up. And if the year after that it's 1%, they'd step up again. So incredible great news going into this afternoon. Next, the asset cap would be removed. Very helpful, especially when you're waiting for those stimulus checks. The Asset Cap Act dates back to a 1980s law that says you can't keep more than $3,000 on hand. For some of you, it's going to be gone. Then they're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law. It's going to be gone. That says you can't work and also stay on benefits. So now if you want to work and make $1,000, $2,000 a month, you can and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty. The marriage penalty penalizes you for getting married and losing benefits. So people who are married have been penalized, and people who want to get married have not because of the marriage penalty. Now the marriage penalty would go away, and love would win because you would be able to marry your long-term interests and not lose your benefits. Incredible great news. So that's fifth stimulus, which heats up in the fall as a two-step process, likely to see the benefits hit in November. But guess what? Over the rest of this week, we're going to be tracking the new reports about where inflation may be. Because if inflation does go up substantially, your benefits lifetime go up substantially. Remember, they never step down. They only step up. And each time the number is big, they step up. If the next year it's flat, it doesn't step down. Incredible great news. So let's now go back to fourth stimulus check and what's going on with the fourth stimulus check. Well, the President of the United States yesterday went to Ford Motor Corporation. Also, Janet Yellen went to the the Chamber of Commerce for the United States. But what's important to understand is that while the president's message is to get it done, the president's message is to his Democratic leadership. And now that Democratic leadership is writing Chuck and Nancy and saying, get the vote done ASAP. Here's what you should expect that's going to happen over the next few days. The Democrats are emphatic to get the reconciliation writing of the bill done. It's important to understand that as a viewer of this channel, congressional leaders don't hold press conferences every day. They don't hold press conferences every week. They don't come out and tell you, I finished 20 pages of the 100-page bill. They don't give you those updates. They just do it. We now learn in these news interviews today that they have been writing the bills, as I've been reporting, and that they're nearly finished, and that they want the vote to be called. They don't want the vote to be held up any more longer than it needs to be held up. And they don't want the vote to be hinging on any other event. So their position is emphatic. We want the vote, and we want the vote immediately. The president's position, on the other hand, is I'll still meet with the other side, and I'll continue to meet with them for a few more days, but I'm not changing my position. And he hasn't. He hasn't changed his position at all, as the Republicans haven't changed theirs either. They stayed at $500 billion for 3 months, a price tag the president won't do. As we look forward and we look continuing back to what has happened, it's important to understand this. When comparing the House versus Senate proposal, the Senate proposal is more in line with where this country currently is. The country is opening. The people are getting back to work. People are working. But guess what? They're not caught up with their bills. The only instrument that both Republicans and Democrats, locally and nationally agree, gets you caught up on your bills is not unemployment stimulus, is not rental stimulus, it's stimulus checks. So let's look back at that Senate proposal. Potential $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. It's a big cash infusion that gets you back to normal. Even if you're back to work, even if we're out of the pandemic, even if the mask mandate is lifted, even if the businesses reopen, you're still behind on your bills and need to get caught up. It's important to understand when you look at the 4 stimulus checks, we're not talking about the other instruments of stimulus, which are likely not coming back. Over the last few days, I've been very clear in my tough love about the other items that will not survive from third stimulus and won't be coming back under fourth stimulus. PUA, FPUC, PEUC, unemployment stimulus won't be coming back. Rental assistance, rental stimulus won't be coming back. And any type of renter stimulus, like an eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance, won't be coming back. But Democrats are of universal belief that stimulus checks need to come back. Until you're caught up in your bills, it doesn't matter if you have a job, it doesn't matter if the mask mandate is lifted, you still need to get caught up on your bills. And now with the incredible great news to recap this recording, the Democrats from the House, the same ones who had written the president urging for monthly stimulus checks and wrote the bill calling for monthly stimulus checks, have now written Nancy and Chuck a letter saying, call the vote. It's time to finish it. We're done. We're almost done with writing the legislation in the subcommittees. Call the vote. Let's finish it off. This is the incredible great news that you wanted to hear. Meantime, make sure you get rent and utilities, and also watch for that big money coming back from the federal government and from your states. And guess what? I'm also going to look for you on Afternoons LALATE. It's coming up in 2 hours from now. Well, just a little bit longer than that. At 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Then we go into Evenings LALATE at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you miss Mornings LALATE or Early Mornings LALATE, it's now archived on the channel. So subscribe. I want you part of this channel. Away we go to 1 million subscribers. Let's do it. Also, like this video. Thank you for the 1,000 likes. Let's get it to 2,000 likes. And consider becoming a member and get access to all these documents, including the new PDF, which you'll get tonight, of the letter. While it doesn't talk about stimulus checks, it talks about calling the vote ASAP. Stay informed, stay focused, get to the finish line, whether it's a tow truck or an F-150 electric lightning pickup truck. Stay here, stay informed, and stay with LALATE for more.